I guess we'll start firing away. But all right, well, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Of course, if you've found your way here, you probably know my channel name is Straight Six Fan. But a little bit about myself. My name's Grant Tommy, and a little more about my channel. I like to focus on what I like to call offbeat hot rodding, which is focusing on creative, budget-minded, relatable builds. And we are in, I believe it's installment 7. I should really look these things up before I get going of Know Your Neighbors, but we'll roll a little intro music and we'll get on to knowing our neighbor, our guest, and I'll introduce him here in a bit. Know your neighbors. All right, well, welcome once again to episode 7, installment number 7 of Know Your Neighbors, and today we are we welcome into the show Tony from DrivenByGears, just a couple states down to my south in the great state of Texas. Tony, welcome to the show. I like to focus on what I call offbeat hot rodding, which is on creative, budget-minded, relatable builds. And we are in, I believe it's installment 7. I should really look these things up before I get going of Know Your Neighbors, but we'll roll a little intro music and we'll get on to knowing our neighbor, our guest, and I'll introduce him here. Let's get your neighbor's name. Tony, you still there? I think you might be watching the YouTube feed. Creating budget-minded, relatable builds, and we are in installment 7. I should really look these things up before I get.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you watching me through the YouTube feed? Because it's going to be behind. Use the Google.
Yeah, no, I muted that. I just you froze over here on the other screen on the.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, we'll try this again. But our guest is DrivenByGears. Tony, welcome to the show.
How's it going?
All right. Well, part of the reason I do this is to spin around YouTube, get to know some other creators for the viewers out there who might be familiar with my channel, but they're familiar with my channel because they like cars, and so I'm always in pursuit of other car guys, other related creators. And so, Tony, I stumbled upon your channel actually probably a couple months ago, and of course, you have a well. First off, one of the questions I like to ask all of the guests on the show is what made you start YouTube? What made you get into YouTube to begin with?
Well, I should have started YouTube a long time ago, but basically just, some of my ideas are more unique than others, so I just figured I'd start filming it and show everybody else. So I've always been passionate about, things driven by gears, so I just decided, I'll just start a YouTube video and start making videos like all the other guys I'd be watching does. So
yeah, I mean, I love that. I love that name for the reason you just mentioned. It's just like it doesn't really matter as long as it's got four wheels and gears, or maybe even 2 wheels and gears. I do appreciate that. But
it's really not like a specific based. That's why I named it that, because it can be, anything. It could be a boat, airplane, anything with gears.
Yeah, I think sometimes, when you don't know what you're going to exactly do when you start a YouTube channel, you can kind of easily pigeonhole yourself into like a weird spot, where you thought you were going to go one way and then you decided to go another. So that is pretty genius, the DrivenByGears. But I know one of the primary pieces of content on your channel at the moment is, well, you've got 2 trucks, but the one I want to spend some time talking about is a little vehicle you like to call the General, old body style 88 to 98 generation Chevy 1500, but it's a single cab long bed. So tell us a little bit about what possessed you to start building the General, because and that's another reason what attracted me to your channel. As you know, I like things a little offbeat, a little off the norm. So talk a little bit about the General and what made you kind of head down that route, modifying the General.
All right. Well, it started off as I was making custom Jeep parts because I used to have a Jeep, and I was making custom inner fenders. And I needed a truck with a long bed because I was getting 10-foot sheets of steel because I was plasma cutting them. And my dad came across this truck from a guy that he worked with, and he'd got a new truck, and it was only $500, and everything worked. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm in. So I drove all the way to Oklahoma, picked it up. And, you know, it just started off as a shop truck just to haul the metal and all that. But, you know, I just don't do just stock stuff. So it started off, you know, just adding a little bit here, and then it pretty much escalated from there. Went from, and if you not notice, it's texture painted, which is very unique for vehicles if you go to car shows. But I was a Jeeper, so textured paint off-roading guy, that's a norm. Well, not for show vehicles. So every time I go to shows with it, you know, that's the first thing everybody wants to do is rub the paint. It's because, you know, everybody's paint is all gloss, clear-coated to the max, you know, buffed out. But, you know, I got this semi-gloss textured paint truck. But yeah, it started off with that, and then I did have it, you know, lifted at first, but it just didn't drive well because it's two-wheel drive. So, you know, I got the idea of, well, you know, I've always wanted to try to do one of them pro touring trucks because nobody really does trucks to a pro touring, you know, so that's just where it started beginning after that. I just started one little piece at a time.
Well, no, you know, I've been following your channel for a while, but I don't know that I necessarily got the full blown pro touring concept out of it. So that's a cool little tidbit. But that makes a lot more sense for one of my favorite videos of yours, the chin spoiler that you hand fabricated. That video, because that is very pro touring. So talk a little bit about you know, that process. What maybe was the hardest thing about that project? Yeah, and looks like Tony may have froze for a bit, so
Our chin spoiler, and that was it.
Yeah, Tony, do you mind repeating? It froze a little bit on my end. I don't know if the viewers heard exactly all that, but sorry, it kind of froze up a little bit when you started.
This is why I need to get rid of AT&T. Sorry, I didn't hear your question. All I heard was chin spoiler, and that was it. So you may have to say it again.
Okay, yeah. Well, we were discussing a little bit about the, and yeah, I apologize to the viewers. Don't know exactly what you guys are getting out of us through all this, but just talking through what were some of the challenges about the chin spoiler project, which is one of my favorite videos of yours. We appear to have Tony, can you hear all right over there?
For internet connection, because of stuff like this, it just doesn't work right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Yeah, you were fading out on me. Sorry.
I was just kind of asking. Was talking about your chin spoiler video, and if you had any, like, what were the hardest challenges of that project?
Definitely getting it centered. That was not fun at all, especially doing it by yourself. Basically, I just started off with cardboard. You know, put a big piece of cardboard up under there, drew it out, and then literally traced it on metal. You know, the kind of the size that I wanted. Really, there's no aftermarket market for those chin spoilers. There's only like one place I know of that sells them. And of course, you know, they're extreme in price. So they're rare to find. That's the reason why I pretty much just made it myself.
Yeah, it is a little more rare. I mean, being the Ford guy that I am, of course, my channel's namesake was after my first vehicle, which was a '95 Ford F-150 single cab long bed, just like your truck. But at least in that same era, same age, it was a '95 F-150. We at least had the Ford Lightning that had, there's a lot of reproduction chin spoilers, on their end. So yeah, that is. I could see how there would be a very limited choices on the Chevy end, but I think it turned out pretty slick, and that's what kind of exciting to hear that you've adopted the pro touring sort of mindset for well, first off a truck like you said, but yeah, I think that now layering that on top of everything that's pretty cool. But so to keep in line with the general, what is maybe your favorite part of the project so far, or what was your favorite thing to install on it or modify, or top to bottom to where you're at today?
Probably, to be honest with you, would be the hood vents because a lot of people were like, "Why would you want to cut the hood?" You know, but sometimes you just do it. And I didn't want to buy inducted hood just because they're so pricey. I'm more of like just do with what you got, just make it look good. So I just cut it out, and I already had some screen because, like I said, I used to make Jeep inner fenders, so I already had a whole bunch of that metal mesh laying around. And then I just pretty much cut some rings out and riveted around, give it that aircraft look. Worked out good.
Well, that's funny you mentioned it like that. That the initial reaction is people were like, "Well, why would you cut into the hood?" That made me smile because it makes me think of some of the approaches I have for the my Fairmont project. Is like, I think if you have haters, that means that you're doing it right. I think there's something to be said about like when people are questioning you, it's like, well, okay, then I'm pushing some envelope somewhere somehow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I like that attitude and I like that mindset. And you bring up another kind of passion of mine, which the whole concept of rat rotting, right, is just working with what you have laying around, and so that same concept doing these hood vents speaks exactly to that. So, and yes, as Jason says in the chat, our buddy from Old Car Auto Guy, which if you're in the chat and you haven't checked out his channel, please do. He says, as a car guy, the answer to him is, well, why not? On some of those things.
Oh
But,
yeah, and as you can see,
yeah, just if you talk, that usually fires the camera over to your side. So just
yeah, as you can see with I don't know if they can see it, but the hood vents, which is a little more extreme when you see it in person, but picture don't do it justice.
yeah, and so talk a little bit about the poster. You're probably one of the first creators I've seen to kind of to utilize that idea. Of course, a lot of us exchange stickers and stuff. A lot of us have T-shirts, but
Yeah.
you went and printed off a couple photos or posters. Talk a little bit about that. I mean, I think that's a pretty neat idea.
Well, these are only like $9, and as you can see, it's pretty good size, really, really good quality, glossy paper, or you can pick which I just use the Walmart.com, but it's a cheap process to do if you want to make, some wall art. And I was eventually going to either do like the poster frames or just frame it all together, whichever.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
$9, you can't beat it.
Yeah. Like definitely worth the attempt or the try. I think, and that would make a great giveaway too, as you hit different milestones. But before we talk a little bit about your other truck, I mean, just to wrap up kind of the thought process on the general, nothing's ever done, right? So I know you've got a motor you're rebuilding for it, so tell us a little bit about your long-term plans or projections for the general, especially starting with that motor build.
Well, right now I end up picking up a 5.7 liter with the transmission and all that for like $400, which was a good deal. So I started breaking it apart. It's been a little bit of a while now just to check it out to see, and it actually didn't look that bad. It doesn't even look like it has too many miles on it. So, because the motor that's in it now is the original motor, and it's almost reached 200,000 miles. So, I'm gonna have to trade it out, but I can't afford like an LS swap and all that right now. So, like everybody goes to. So it'll just be the 5.7 liter 350, probably with an RV cam, headers and all that. So.
Well, in a world full of LS swaps,
yeah, everything's LS swap.
Yeah,
even Hondas.
Yeah, it was Motor Trend. Went as far as the hot rod guys, Tony Angelo, and they went as far as like they made a video that was LS versus Cummins versus 2JZ, and it's like, I mean, they're all great motors. There's a reason why they're so popular because they're tried and true. But it's like at some point, just kind of get sick of seeing the same thing. Like, can someone just be creative? Like, do something different? To
be honest with you, on that note, though, I do have a creative idea that's coming soon. I'm going to take like a wrecked import car that gets super gas mileage, and I'm going to put like a 40 model cab on it.
Interesting. So you'll still go with I mean, so they're unibody cars, right? Most of those. So
yeah,
you're going to body swap onto and still have front wheel drive?
Well, we'll see. I don't know if I'll pick a front wheel drive import or a rear wheel drive import, but I wanted one that would get like 30 to the miles gallon plus, and maybe one that I could put a turbo on. But I wanted to make it a long cruiser, but make it look old, but have the new school, So that'll be coming later on in the years after I get the whole general where I want it. So
Gotcha. I just got a work email on my phone. What the heck is that? Sorry.
You got a what?
Yeah. I'm like, what is? I don't know why anybody's working this time of night, but
Work email on your phone?
Yeah. Oh, unfortunately. I said I was never going to be one of those persons, but it has become so. I'm good at ignoring them though. It just the little notification came up. Well, so the other Silverado you have is the next generation up, if I'm not mistaken, the 99 plus generation, not the Cat Eye, if I remember right. What do you got going on with the other Silverado?
Oh, the O2.
There you go.
Yeah, it's it was a grandpa special when I got it, so I kind of lifted it 4-inch lift, 2-inch body. I didn't go too extreme because I still want to be able to go under a garage and clear it. So I didn't want to go 6 inches because then you can't get in the garage. But I'm eventually going to work on a rack similar to this one.
Nice.
As you can see, maybe, I hope. So kind of a roof rack / go into the body. That'll be the next big project for that truck. But I may eventually try to work it on over into like a pre-runner, but I don't know yet. it may be an overlander / pre-runner morphed together. You know, because I like the overlander setups. You know, so I got my lifted truck and I got my lowered truck. So you know, that's kind of the way it is.
Yeah, what more could a guy ask for, really? And that's exactly kind of the mindset I went through with my first vehicle. I always wanted to lower it. I built even I found a long single cab long bed model, like a 125 scale plastic model, and I bought a second generation Lightning model, and I lowered it and put the Lightning wheels on it and everything. But eventually, I started getting started getting interested into pre-runners, and that with that twin I-beam suspension, that's the route I tried to take that. So you're speaking my language with pre-runners.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, there's like just too many cool things. So I first wanted to lower it, and then I wanted to lift it. So I feel it. And the overlanding scene's getting pretty cool now too. And just now joining the live stream, we have Bearded Yakin from up there in the Philly region. So welcome, Bearded, to the live stream.
Bearded Yakin.
So hope he's behaving himself tonight.
A lot of bearded guys.
Yeah, I probably have the shortest beard in this operation. So
mine used to be longer, like way down here, but I cut it because I had to change jobs, you know. So,
well, I'm kind of up. I'm kind of out of my questions I was hoping to ask you. I've got one left, Tony, but I like to sort of throw the plug out there right now for any of the people in the live chat. If you have a question for either of us, you know, think about it. Feel free to lob it out there. But and I do see Classic Ride Society has. I was talking about LS swap, and yeah, especially if you're in yards as much as Classic Ride Society is, you can. If you know what you're doing and know what you're looking for, you can snag LSs for pretty cheap. But for you, Tony, the last question I have before we open it up to the viewers would be what kind of advice would you give? You know, a lot of us are in the same spot, subscriber wise, view time wise, or whatever, and we're all doing this side hustle, trying to figure it out. Do you have any advice for any of the viewers? Just sort of YouTube advice, things you wish you would have known sooner, would have done sooner for your channel.
Well, first off, I think regardless of what you're doing in your garage or whatever you're passionate about, just film it and then post it, because you may not think that it would be a good video or make a good video, but you'll be surprised what people want to watch out there. I mean, I've watched people that just doing random day-to-day stuff, going to the grocery store, and people are loving it. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. So, no matter what you're trying to film, if you're just film it, throw it on YouTube, and just keep doing it. And eventually you'll get there. That's the only thing I can say. Eventually you'll get there. So if I would have started a whole lot longer, because I built so many different vehicles, but I always just use YouTube as a source just to go watch stuff to try to figure out how to do something. I never really thought about filming it and putting stuff on there. So, after I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to start filming what I do and put it on there, because there's some stuff that I do that's not even on YouTube. And I'm like, I'd be digging around for it. Can't find it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to film it. Just like the whole third brake light thing. I couldn't find it. I did dig around for days until I finally found it. So I just uploaded it,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And that's I usually say something very similar, but it's usually always related back to when people ask me, did I get into YouTube for the money or not? And my answer is always both yes and no.
Yeah.
It's like the no part is like, the way I see it is like, I'm just doing my hobbies I would be doing anyway. I just happen to hit record on the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's really what you got to think about, is just whatever you're passionate about, just film it, throw it on the YouTube, just keep doing it.
Yeah,
and eventually you'll get there.
Yeah, and if you happen to be able to make money out of it, then that's just even that's just an
Yeah,
added
that's the
plus.
plus side. And then if you can get to a point where you can do that full time, that's even better.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we got a couple of questions that came in through the live chat, and Tony, the first one out there was from Cheap Things Outdoors, and of course, as you might have guessed from his name, he does like to do some work on Jeeps, and he has a little bit of a overlander or kind of survival vehicle. It's a ZJ, but he's looking for kind of a perfect candidate for a tow rig, and he was kind of just throwing out what would our opinions be, and he's a Mopar guy, so if you were going to build a Mopar tow rig, what would you recommend?
Mopar tow rig.
I
Well,
mean,
it
obviously,
differs.
it's hard to turn your head away from a Cummins turbo diesel
That's what I
20.
was pretty much going to say was a Cummins, but definitely if you could get one of them older Cummins, like forget the actual number, but like the Diesel brothers are always finding, and they say it's a holy grail. Get
Yeah,
one
the
of
12 valve.
those. Yeah, that one, because it's like lasts forever.
Yeah, yeah, and everything's mechanical. It's super simple to work on. There's something to be said about, some of the best things designed in life, and that's what my profession is being a designer, is how can you do multiple things with something super simple? And I think that's, again, the appeal to the 12 valve Cummins. I guess if it's me, so I'll go a little off the wall. Yeah, hard to beat the Cummins. It'd be really cool to. There's actually a really good channel here on YouTube. I think it's just first gen diesel, but it's the number one ST first gen diesel, and as the name implies, he's building like when the Cummins first rolled out in the late 80s or whatever. Or well, let me rephrase that. When it first rolled out in a Dodge pickup, because Cummins has been around for ages. He's his channel's all about that, and he's got what's Black Betty? I can't remember the name of his build, but that'd be pretty cool. But I'm always a sucker for Jeep Comanches, MJs, or even the Commanders, the other pickups, the older pickups with like the Wagoneer front clip. I think that would be pretty cool. The guys over at Bleepin' Jeep, the guy I can't remember all their names, not Matt, but the guy but the other guy up in Oregon, he's putting a 5-cylinder Mercedes diesel in one of those Commanders. That would be pretty sweet tow rig, I think.
Or M715, which is my favorite because it's the military look.
Oh yeah.
Hey, hold on. Let me get that to go away. You can come across one of those, man, you'd be killing it in the off-roading industry.
Yeah, that would be a pretty BA tow rig, something like that. And I'm guessing too, Tony, you like the color of that one.
Oh yeah, the olive drab. Yeah.
That I did. That's why I wore this shirt too. It was just to go.
Heck yeah.
So, next question came from our buddy Jason Carr, Old Car Auto Guy, and I don't know if this question was directed specifically for you, Tony, or for both of us, but I'm going to assume it was directed more towards you. And he was just asking, what future plans do you have in store for the channel?
Well, eventually, when I've already got past 1,000 subscribers. So when I get my view time in, which I'm already at 800, you got to get 4,000 hours. I've already been looking into the other sources of where you can do the ad stuff, get paid. But as far as like channel content, like I was telling before about wanting to do the old 30 model cab with the import car, which it would be a totally different concept than what most people do as for like a rat rod type 30 model car. So, but that, I'll just probably keep adding more stuff to the content. Anything driven by gears. It doesn't have to be vehicle related to the general or the other black truck. So,
yeah, I think one of the things I always thought would be cool, not too far off your idea, but it's not an import. Is Ford's new EcoBoost lineup, like that 2.3 liter they're throwing in Mustangs that are already have the transmission going the right direction for rear wheel drive. I think one of those would be pretty cool, and something like which I guess I will somewhat shamelessly self plug myself here. I guess it is my channel, but Village Customs here on YouTube as well as Instagram gave me a shout out, and they have one of those old 2.3 liter turbo coupes in one of their, I think it's his Willys pickup truck rat rod. I think that one of those new 2.3 liter EcoBoosts would be cool as hell in one of those things.
Oh yeah, they got those EcoBoosts down now.
The only thing my understanding is what the trick is for like swaps is like it's not even, it's like one step past the wiring harness. It's like the computer management system. There's something that it's like Eric the car guy on his Fairmont was going to do the 3.5 liter EcoBoost in that Fairmont, but he was talking about like he was going to have to go as far as finding like I don't know. It didn't make sense to me, but it's like even the gauges, like everything is so integrated that you have to chase down really far to like certain details to get those things to just run right. But I'm sure as time goes on, people smarter than me are going to figure out how to circumvent that stuff. But
yeah, that's the main reason why it's said a wrecked vehicle for me, to where I can literally rip all the gauges out, the gas pedal, and put it in just that cab. And that way it'll all be synced together. I don't have to worry about having somebody on a laptop go crazy with it.
yeah,
If you don't have the laptop skills these days with those newer cars, yeah, you're in trouble.
Well, we have a couple other people. I want to give some shout outs to Mr. Something Basic 215. Welcome to the live stream. I know you've been in here a while. Novitaz as well. Welcome to the show, and he agrees donor car's the way to go. But Joker Graphics, the close friend of one of my previous interviewees, Jeffrey Eatley, welcome to the show, everybody. So, great questions, by the way, so far. If you guys have any other ones, please keep them rolling. If we don't have too many more, we'll probably wrap up the live stream. But Tony, I guess we'll switch the chairs here. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, what actually got you started on the whole YouTube? When did you get it going?
So March 2019 will be the fourth year. Will be year 4. It was 2015. March 2015 is when I got started, and it was Novitaz. Well, you did make it this time. Good job. It was a combination of things. I was doing a lot of podcasting before I got into YouTube. It was the culmination of I finally had a bunch of like my college debt paid off, where I knew I was getting close to where I could start buying better tools, maybe a project car someday. And I just had this itch, like I need to be out creating. I need to be using my hands. And then my coworker of Greg's Garage, the guy who sang the intro song for us, he was already well into his YouTube career. And when he found out I podcasted, we started kind of talking about, our different side hustles. And I realized there's much better monetization potential in the YouTube side. And so it was like all those things. It was kind of that perfect storm that then finally made me kind of get off my duff, if you will, and start trying it out.
Yeah.
And it's funny though, like the best part is like, and I tell anybody, I'm glad I still have some of my first videos up, because I was just using a webcam to do a lot of my first videos. Like I would go out to the garage we had this tablet that had a USB port, and I'd plug in a webcam to this tablet. I had to find a like clean spot in the shop to where I could not knock over my tablet, and the audio is horrible. The video wasn't horrible, but the audio was, and it's just I always point people to, if they're thinking about, well, should I jump into YouTube? Should I not? I'm scared. I'm like, go to this video, watch my first video, and look at the bar, how low of a bar you can set for yourself, and then get to where I am now.
Yeah.
But I see some people in the comments are agreeing. Yeah.
First videos are crappy. Yeah, we all got to start somewhere. Mine are too.
Well, so Classic Rights Society has a question for us. And I know earlier he made a comment about he wishes those 5.7 Hemis were a little more affordable in junkyards. Because, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out Classic Rights Society's channel, it's very much like, you've seen them from Motor Trend, you've seen them from Haggerty channels where they kind of just go to different junkyards and find the classic finds. He does a really good job. Similar content to that. So he knows if you want someone who's got the pulse on junkyards, both Classic Car Society and then Cat Loco, another one of my previous Know Your Neighbor interviews, definitely hit those guys up. But he asked the question, what cameras do we use? And I'll go first because I'll make it quick. But I shoot with a Canon SL2 right now. Tony, what are you usually producing with?
Well, I got two, like I said before, a GoPro Hero, and then this DB Power EX5000, which is a knockoff version of GoPro, but it actually works pretty good. It's only like an eighth of the price. So that's pretty much what I'm working with.
Yeah, and actually, I know Jason was shooting with the thing that maybe a little pointer I'd tell people is don't worry so much about the camera. Buy almost whatever. I would recommend finding one that has an auxiliary mic input, and GoPros are just like that. Because what I did is I scaled up. So first I shot with webcam. The first one I had, which I really liked, fell off of a shelf into I was cleaning like my carburetor for a Briggs and Stratton, and it fell right into this like dish of carb cleaner. It started to melt the heck out of that thing. So then I had to buy the next webcam, which is what I'm actually shooting with right now. I'm streaming through that webcam. And then when I realized I was going to be doing this, like, this is going to be a regular thing. For Christmas, I asked for a Canon Vixia HR600, which is a pretty awesome camera. And it has an auxiliary mic input in it, because then that allowed me to scale up accessories, or I could buy accessories that worked for that camera. And then now that I shoot with the SL2, I already had all that other stuff. So my recommendation is don't worry about really what camera you buy, but I would recommend look for something that's got an auxiliary mic input, no matter what. Like, I know Jason at Old Car Auto Guy, he shoots with a GoPro, and he picked up I think he picked up a Canon T6i, but he had, you can outfit, you have to buy an extra adapter, I think, for the GoPro, but you can do auxiliary mics there. And so,
well, believe it or not, the DB Powers mic is better than the GoPro as far as your voice. This thing will pick up every background noise freaking a mile away, but this thing picks up your voice a whole lot better. But the lighting on this one, there's not very good lighting. It's dark, where the GoPro will like auto focus itself. So that's the only drawbacks with these two.
Well, and Jeep Things Outdoors in the chat brought up how he shoots with his phone mostly anymore. And honestly, that's another great tip. Like, just jump into the game and use your phone. I mean, the cameras on smartphones are so awesome right now. And I can't emphasize enough, like, because if you have bad audio, like, you can shoot the best video, but you can lose people's attention quickly if they can't hear you. Even if you're shooting with a smartphone, Rode makes a microphone that you can plug in straight to your phone, and then if you buy it the right way, you can outfit that for like a DSLR or mirrorless camera later on down the road. So that's, in my opinion, another good investment. Like, where, again, don't worry about the camera, almost upgrade accessories, because you can oftentimes still use your accessories no matter what camera you have if you're strategic about it. So.
Oh yeah, and definitely your software is a big deal. I've noticed now because I've been digging around for software where when I got two cameras running at one time, it's filming the same thing. I want to do a picture in picture. Well, not all software out there for editing offers that.
So what editing program do you use? I'm not super happy with the one I use, but yeah,
Well,
you're right. That's a struggle as well.
yeah, I'm switching over to. I started looking into the because I've been just using the oh man, what is it called? Um, just the Windows Movie Maker because it was quick and simple. I was using that for the longest time, but now I'm gonna switch over to. I gotta find this email to tell you because I just found it like literally like 2 days ago.
In the meantime, I use a Corel product, and that's
the company, yeah.
is it. So I'll tell you, like, I mean, it's good, but there's some very like fundamental things that I think they make way too hard that kind of are underwhelming about it. So I don't know. I'm kind of like in between. Like, I think
Is
you're
it
better off just saving your money a little bit longer and going for something like Adobe Premiere Elements, like not the Creative Cloud real version, but the Elements, which is like their stripped down version. I think is going to, I think, be a pretty good investment. I know Sony also has a video suite thing that I hear a lot of people. If you're not a Mac user, of course, if you're a Mac user, Jason, thanks for joining the show. I understand it is late for you, so cheers, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. But you know, if you're a Mac user, they have some great default programs on their own. But yeah, if you're a PC user like myself and Tony, Sony has, and then man, I'll have to dig it up. Somebody was I was Village Customs again. I was chatting with him, and there are some free online things that do pretty good. So yeah, sorry, I just started talking way too much.
Yeah, Video Studio Pro 2018. Is that what you're using?
Well, mine's a couple releases old. I think I've got like version.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking into because I did look into the one you mentioned about the Adobe, but they want you to pay monthly.
Well, that's
the one I was looking at, and I was like,
yeah.
I don't.
So I think if you go on Amazon and the key is the Elements is like the stripped down version. Creative Cloud. So I have the Adobe suite for other like Photoshop and Illustrator and that stuff. And they used to go, it was like Creative Suite is what they started calling it, which was a bundle of programs. They got up to 6, I think CS6, and then they started doing Creative Cloud. So everything's cloud based, which is that subscription. Yeah. So anything that's 6 and older, you can buy one time. And yeah, classic ride. DaVinci Resolve. I tried to start goofing around with that a little bit. That is such a huge and robust program. Phil Mora, thanks, Jeep Things Outdoors. That's what Village Customs was recommending, was Phil Mora. I kind of want to look into that. But DaVinci Resolve, maybe it's easier than I was making it out to be, but man, that just was kind of overwhelming. And I feel like I kind of know my way around video and picture editing software, but that program is so robust, it scares the heck out of me.
Well, I got Pinnacle Studio 19 as well, but it's the same way. There's just so much stuff going on. It takes too long to edit. You'll be in there for 4 hours just messing with a 30-minute video, where I can get on the Windows Movie Maker and make it in like, and do all the options I want real quick. I mean, sometimes there's just too much options. It's like,
yeah. And then I'll say the Corel Studio suffers from kind of the reverse. Things that you feel like are pretty basic moves aren't options. Like I can't think off the top of my head. Oh, like, okay, I got a good example. So like in Windows Movie Maker, just when you want to speed up like a clip, like I want to make this thing 3 times as fast as it is. Yeah. It's just kind of goofy. Like it wants to treat it like either it's a time, like the way you speed it up in the Corel Studio, like it's underwhelming for the like they only can go up to like 3 times, or they make you treat it like it's a time lapse, so it starts clipping frames out of to make it go so fast. It clips frames out, and it makes the video look awkward to me. And I'm like, how did Video Movie or Windows Movie Maker do a better job at something
Yeah,
that I just dropped $75 on or whatever it was?
exactly. And Windows Movie Maker was free, you know?
Right.
Like, really?
And then their transitions are awkward because and I'm sure you can manipulate it, but I'm like, it's kind of like I haven't even sunk my head into it. I was like, because it shouldn't be this hard. It's like the way they default your transitions default in Windows or the Corel Video Studio. It's like it just what you. It's like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's hard to control, like when like say a fade out starts and when it stops within a clip. Whereas like it did such a better job, and that's where I could probably run down a list of things that you're used to in Windows Movie Maker, and I could tell you which things you'd be frustrated with in the Corel product. But
Yeah, well, I haven't bought it yet, so maybe I'll wait it out.
yeah, I'm interested in this Filmora.
Filmora then, since everybody's suggesting this.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that the Corel Video Studio does that I don't remember Windows doing was like I can J clip or divorce the audio from the video, and so I can like overlay like my B-roll and have my same, like if I'm just sitting in front of camera talking about something like this is what I did, blah 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 blah, but I've got B-roll, I can lay it over really super easy. That's one of the
you do that with Filmora? Can you do picture in picture and dual cameras at the same time? I'm hoping everybody will hear that.
I'm guessing well, I don't remember how bad the lag is.
Because that's a lot of the programs limit, you know, they don't have that. Like if you want, like they'll let you play 2 cameras, but you got to chop them. You know, play this for a little while, play that for a little while. I don't want that. Like I want 2 different angles playing at the same time on the same screen. You know what I mean? You know, not a picture on top of a picture, but like a split picture.
Yeah, it looks like Nova Test.
Yeah, Windows Movie Maker don't allow you to do that.
Yeah, you can do that in the Corel product. I've got if you go to my Backroading with Joe playlist, I've got one where we went through the Flint Hills, and I've got a couple shots you can see where I did exactly that. If I didn't, I had already lent out my Corel disk to a coworker, and you know, like a lot of programs, you can have an installed license thing on two computers.
Yeah.
If he didn't already install it, I would just send it to you so you could test it out before you bought it.
Yeah.
Because the other thing, every time I log out on Sundays when I'm done, they want me to upgrade. They want me to click a button, and you know, it's like only $20 to upgrade to the newest one after you have the old version.
Yeah, yeah.
So that might be another backwards way you could get into the newest version if you wanted for cheap, because you could probably on Amazon find like my version, which is like 3 releases old now, number 8, because I think they have 9, 10, and then this 2018.
Yeah, well, I just Googled like the best editing software for 2018, you know, and it was like up there for the top.
Well, maybe the newest release has taken care of a lot of those things that are like, okay, you guys took a very simple move and made it like 3 steps complicated when it shouldn't be. Maybe they fixed some of that stuff.
Yeah, well, I tried the trial version and was messing around with the video, and it wasn't too bad to operate. I mean,
yeah,
there was some stuff that I was kind of like, well, where is this at? You know, but
yeah.
I mean, if you want to chop a lot of parts from the video and add music and chop and voice and music and chop, and you don't want it to have to be a long process. You want to be able to do it quickly, because if not, it'll take you too many hours. To me, anyway, it takes too many hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is the struggle. I think in 2019, I'm going to change. I like doing my Sunday uploads because I'm usually working on stuff on Sunday, and I like to just do my work, get done, and make it as timely as possible for everybody to consume it as fast as possible. But I think I'm going to switch to just scheduling Monday releases for all my stuff because I just, sometimes I work in the garage a little later, and it's hard to get stuff out consistently at that 8:30 drop time that I like to. That I'm like, man, why don't I just take as long as I need to on Sunday night, and then
How long does it take you to edit your videos you do in the garage?
I mean, it varies, but it's usually like an hour and a half to 2 hour commitment, probably on
About
average.
the same. I'm about the same. I've gotten a little bit better if it's under 30-minute video. But like those car shows I do, that takes a while because you're sitting there editing so much small footage that you want to do for particular each vehicle.
Yeah,
Takes
and there's probably a lot of like dead time, like you're walking from one
dead
car,
space. Yeah,
so you probably easily have 45 minutes of footage really fast, and it's like there's 8 minutes you're trying to pluck out of 45 or something.
yeah.
Classic Ride Society asked, and again, Tony, I'm going to assume this question was directed at you. He can correct me in the meantime if that's not what he meant, but he wanted to know where we're located at.
Well, I am located in North Richland Hills, which is next to Fort Worth in Texas. Mid cities between Dallas and Fort Worth. So
I know Classic Ride Society is another Texas guy, which I guess I'll use this as an opportunity to once again lob out. I did this in a Tuesday live stream, but try to see what kind of interest there is in the current group of if we did like a mini power tour from on Route 66 from Tulsa to Amarillo, Texas. I'm curious how many people would be interested, and I'm thinking it's going to be springtime, sometime 2019, like either early March, mid-April, or early June. Is that I just kind of lobbing that out there? Would people be interested in joining? It'd be a 2-day event. It'd be like meetup. It'd be meeting up in Tulsa on like a Friday night, driving to Oklahoma City, then kind of party it up in Bricktown, and then run down to Amarillo. So let me know in the comments if that's something you guys be interested in. But that looks like you guys making a connection there in the chat.
yeah, I would definitely be interested in that. I mean, because I don't know if you ever watched Street Speed, but they do those YouTube shout outs where a bunch of you big YouTubers will do they go to a drag strip, but man, it's a big success. You can tell for their channels. So just a bunch of YouTubers coming together, meeting somewhere, and if we all vlog it or whatever, it'll be big for the channels.
Yeah. Juan, hey, Juan.
All your followers may even want to show up too,
Yeah.
You never know.
Meet and greets. And that's kind of what I was thinking, like if we planned it out right. So there's this gas station, this like it made it into these architectural magazines. That's my day job, is I'm an architect. Called Pops and it's really close to I think it's a little bit east of Edmond, so just outside of Oklahoma City. But I think that would just be a cool place. We're all car guys to meet up with our our different builds, as we're so where you could meet up and just BS with some of our followers. Maybe you can't, and that's the other appeal to me for doing it like as a 2-day event is like it might make it more accessible. It might be easier for them to drive to Oklahoma City on a Friday night and just hang out with us, but they can't do Saturday too. But then the next day, I was talking to my buddy Greg from work, who's now in Colorado. He's like, heck, I might drive down from Colorado. It's like kind of around Colorado Springs to Amarillo, but he wouldn't drive all the way to Tulsa, So that was kind of my thoughts there.
Yeah, well, it is kind of like the middle of the U.S. pretty much, if you think about it. Oklahoma.
Well, and there's so many Texas creators. I figured that kind of makes it accessible for a lot of those people. Oh, sweet, Juan, you're from You're an hour from Amarillo, so that would be within range for you. So yeah, that'd be sweet. Just to see all of you guys. And yeah, you're exactly right, Tony. Like if everybody's gonna like kind of produce their show in their own style, their own creative way, from their perspective, and to go back and watch everybody's video, and then we could be doing info cards and stuff to everybody's version, and I think you get a lot of traffic out of that too.
Oh yeah, because if I'm sitting here vlogging, and then you're walking into my footage, and then I'm shouting out you while you're in my footage and all the other guys, then everybody's gonna be like, well, I want to go check out his channel and his channel and his, and
yeah,
it's kind of like what started off at the street speed and all them, and Cletus McFarlane, all them guys that are real big. So, and I don't even know if you've watched I Am Jake. He's a Jeep guy that does the Overlander stuff. He does a little thing too, where all his Patreon people and all that show up at a certain point, and they all get to meet him, and he sells merch and all that. And it turned out to be a big deal. Started off small, but now it's big.
Yeah. Well, Tony, I appreciate you taking some time on a Friday night to come live stream with me and BS a little bit. Tell us about your channel. I think I'm good for. I think it's probably about time to shut it down. But I guess I'll throw out a last call for questions if anybody wants to. But yeah, I mean, Tony, if you have any kind of final thoughts or parting shots, go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, everybody that's been commenting, I'm going to try to go to all y'all's channels and sub to it. If I catch all of them, which I could go back and read it, find out who's who. So.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks again for joining. Thanks for sharing some time with us on a Friday night as well in the comments. It's been good. This was actually probably one of the better live streams in the comment section. You guys had really good questions, and you kept us going there for a while. So I really appreciate your guys' time.
Everybody's driven by gears, see?
Yeah, exactly. So, but that'll do it for this go around, guys. And till next time, peace out.